Oh, rotate your
Good morning, 1 million Cup State Television. How are you, everybody? Good. Excellent. So we have a great presenter today. Hey, we want to thank everybody for being here. We've got to thank our organizers. Charlie is out of town with his family. Carlos is out there. Val is here. Sean has a meeting he had to go to, and I go see Casey. She didn't arrive, did she? I'm Tom Jordan. I'm with Searchlight Design, so I'm one of the organizers here. I'm going to do the introductions. First of all, we got to thank Volusia County Economic Development because they helped pay for this location. Great folks. They do a lot of support of entrepreneurs here in the area. Also want to thank the actual venue we're here. Jen's here in the back there. This is Cinema T. So they do great movies here, great independent movies. And what a fantastic venue we have. We want to thank them. They set up the coffee for us and they take great care of us. So we appreciate them very much. I think that's all we have to do is cover. So today we're going to have a presenter. For those of you who are new, how many new folks do we have out there? A lot of folks. Yeah. A lot of new folks. The folks we can go away.
Yeah. Whoop! Which one? Yeah, lots of us.
Of course.
Oh,
Yeah. Bunch of them. So we have a presenter. The way this works is we're going to hear from our presenter today. Fantastic speaker, great story. After that, then we have open discussion. So if you have a comment or an idea, anything you want to help support our presenter today, just raise your hand and we'll go around with the microphone and we have everybody get a chance to speak today. So without further ado, what I want to do is introduce our speaker. He's been an attendee here for a long, long time, many years. Great guy, and he's got a great story and some great businesses. So without further ado here, Mr. Heath Jones. And today he's talking about and Koralis Entertainment. Heath.
Not great introduction. Right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm going to start presentation with a quote. I'll reveal the quotee at the end of this, so no doing any Google food. All right. Does anybody actually know who said this?
You didn't
Oh, I think Ham's going over there.
Oh, no, sorry.
Yeah, okay. So, 1 million cups. I presented here, this is my third time. I presented here first way back in the long distance past of 2015. And I presented again in 2023, and this is an update to my story. This is not a pitch. You know, I've tried to stay true to the mission of 1 million cups where I tell my story or chapters thereof. And I'm perfectly open for you guys to comment, criticize, critique, lambast, whatever you want to do at the end. You can't hurt my feelings, okay? What I'm trying to do is exchange ideas and grow my business. But I want you to remember one thing before you're mean to me at the end of this. This is who you're being mean to. See, that's me at the top there. In 1969, I think I was probably working on this presentation. Below that, that's me on my first ever day of school, my first school photo, and that little cute face there is me pleading with my mum. Please don't make me go and take my photograph looking like Paul McCartney. That's me on the left there on my graduation from boot camp as a 16-year-old airman going to take over the world, failed miserably. And on the right there, this is the only bit of poignance in the story, is that that's my late father, and that's him holding me in Nuneaton outside Coventry. My father was 56 years old and 3 months when he died of lung cancer after 30 years working on the coal mines. And this month, I am 56 and 3 months.
Oh, wow.
And I feel a little bit bit sad because I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. And my dad had lived the whole life, and that was thinking of 30 years. So I dedicate this presentation to my dad.
Oh.
And really complimenting to me. So I'm a marketing professional. I'm an entertainment professional. And there's a golden rule in marketing that it has to fulfill two functions. It has to be informative, it has to be entertaining. So that's what I'll try and do. I'm going to tell you the latest chapter of my story, talk about my evolution over the last 20 years as an entertainment professional, and then maybe tell a few fun anecdotes. That sound good?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I describe my professional life as having two identities. I have what I call my Batman and my Bruce Wayne. Now, that isn't me. Okay? I'm not saying it's not me. Okay, so this is my Batman, Koralis Entertainment. I started the company, it's now 12 years old in 2013, and it was to exploit opportunities within the entertainment industry. At the time, I was on my second movie project, and I had an idea that I was going to build a vertically integrated entertainment business. I still have that ambition, more about that later. And in the time I wrote or directed 3 movies. Some of you have seen some of my movies, hands up. Have you seen any of my movies? Yeah. Okay, so I like to say, when people say, is filmmaking what you do? Actually it isn't. Filmmaking is who I am. I love making movies. And 1,000 years from now, when aliens log onto Facebook, they're not going to remember who I am, but I like the idea that they might see one of my movies. I've also produced some books as part of my entertainment. Now, when I produced my first movie, a $2 million production called Lady Died Back in the Saddle, a comedy 1,000 years in the making, I had, and this is really an after-dinner conversation, I had to learn very quickly about the film industry. And now, if you think there are sharks in your industry, try making movies. I had to rescue a company from company hijacking. I had to disentangle myself from a major multi-million-dollar fraud, and I delivered that movie. And I was the only one at my premiere in Coventry. 500 people were there laughing at my movie. I was the only one crying because I was almost bankrupt. My wife had just left me, and that's a true story. And so I wrote a book about it, which is available on Amazon. And now, when I was making my movie, there's lots of books out there called guerrilla filmmaking. Nobody had written a book about who's trying to screw you over and how they're going to try and do it, including people in your own production. So I wrote. Second book that I wrote, now I wrote this book in 1996 as a 28-year-old, and it's a melodrama. Again, it's available on Amazon. I've had a bunch of 30-somethings who have little secrets, and when they all come together, cause a tragedy. And one day I hope that I might even make that into a movie. And did any of you know I'm also a music producer? Okay, now I'm going to play you 30 seconds of a song I produced. Now, it's relevant because I produced this song to help a crowdfunding for the identity of this celebrity, which some of you will recognize, and we raised $75,000 in an Indiegogo campaign in order to write a film script and create a merchandising business, which was very profitable for him for a couple of years, plushies and toys and t-shirts and stuff. So this is the, let me see if I can get it to play. This is the song that we produced. And you can feel free to dance.
Inside, and the end is near. In an unfamiliar place, everything's unclear. There's no future, there's no hope for another spring. But a sudden ray of change changes everything. Listen to me, I can see the light in you. Spark in your eyes is strong. You
had a very big Facebook following, and I project managed that, and he raised a lot of money, and that figures pretty vaguely, no more or less. But that was for 5 or 6 years. It was a very profitable business. I've also produced Comic-Cons. Anybody recognise there? There's Chrissy. She was the actress in the opening of Jaws that was eaten. She was at our Comic-Con with 39 other celebrities. It was a lot of fun. So that was a major event that we produced at the Ocean Centre. And during the time between 2013 and 2020, I've executed hundreds of esports events, six signature live events. So the company was, and I also produced some technical furniture, which I was building a business where I was going to be putting into hotel rooms. This was all up to 2019, 2020. What happened in 2020?
COVID.
Well, before that, there's just a resume which I'm not going to make you read. And that's the wonderful things that we were producing. But being in the entertainment business when COVID, or as I call it, came along, it wiped out 95% of my competitors, nearly 1 year, because hotels, convention centres, everything was locked down and nothing was happening. So this is what happens. Anybody else suffer that during COVID? Yeah. We all know. It was a painful time. So what did I do? So I want to go to the second half of my presentation, which is my real point, is that I looked at, I said, look, I don't want to liquidate my company. I've got to hibernate for a while. I knew that it wouldn't last forever, but I knew that I had to make a living. So I created this graphic just to explain my thinking, is that, look, I had to look at myself and say, what is your skill set? What's your superpower? What are the things that you can monetize? So I looked at what am I educated, how am I trained, and what is my, what have I mastered? What's my expertise? Well, at an academic level, many years ago, as an undergraduate, I studied literature, media, and theatre. And then the media portion, I studied semiotics, cultural theory. I studied media deconstruction. It's a really sound foundation. I never thought I would ever use it, but I got a deep understanding of how media works, public relations, and the rest of it. For training, I'm a highly trained life insurance salesperson from my days in the 90s when I had a very successful business before I went to university, where I built marketing, direct sales companies and telemarketing companies. So I have that kind of pedigree. And of course, I've done a lot of marketing on my own movies to bring them to market. So when I looked at all of those things, what I did for those first couple of years is I got a job as a sales and marketing director, as a subcontractor, and then I started to pick up work as a marketing person because that was my expertise. So that was when I actually did my last presentation here. If some of you remember, I know Andy was there. Because he gets the quote at the time: "Never, never, never give up."
Yeah.
And so I started, and I was just doing a little bit of marketing. But what happened during the last quarter of 2023 is I started to pick up work. So I actually just created a branded identity, which is a fractional unit. Some of you know. I don't know if I can do just a little quick segue into the site. I hope I can get back. So this is the site that I actually built. No, that's not working. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Okay, here we go. So if anybody wants to check it, if anybody wants to check out the site fractional unit, it gives a list of the services that I've applied in and around the marketing and the sales universe. And so what I thought I'd do for you is I did an inventory. At Christmas this year, I did a little business review on myself, where my business is coming from, who I am, what I'm doing, where I want to go. So this was 2024. I hit the ground in 2024. I pitched 33 pitches. That's not all the people I prospected. That's the people I actually sat down and said, here's what I do, etc., etc. And 21 of those became clients, which is 2 out of 3, which isn't bad. Anybody who's in a sales job, 2 out of 3 is 2 out of 3 isn't bad. Is that a Meatloaf song?
Yes.
So I built 13 websites. I didn't know I was going to be building websites. And I social media managed 4 ad campaigns. You can read it. But interestingly, what happened to me during that time is that I'm learning about a new type of business that I'm in. I haven't been doing it for 30 years. I've been doing it for a year. So what I really realized that what I was doing is that I was not necessarily a marketing professional or a I was actually becoming a project manager. Because as you can see from all of those, they're not all marketing, they all need to be marketing. I'm actually designing courses for 2 clients now, having a lot of fun. I'm building a retreat business with somebody in a holistic wellness company, and I'm doing all of the, it comes from my events pedigree. I can put on very large events. And so I can put large ones on, I can put small ones on. And running ad campaigns I was going to show you on the website is that at the last quarter of last year, I also became a full streaming television agency, which is I now work with a couple of streaming platforms where any one of you that's got a business that you want to advertise on television, you can go now down to the zip code on streaming TV, because all of your TVs now, most of us are not on cable anymore, we have streaming TVs in their apps, and you can actually advertise down very inexpensively down to the zip code or regionally or nationally. And what my company started offering is we do a full soup to nuts service where we will, I'm a filmmaker, so we make your commercial, we produce it, and then we run the agency, we run the ad buys for you. And in my first year, some of you that's just some of you that's your bar bill. So for me, in my first year of operations, 102,000, I'm quite pleased with that, considering that this is my Bruce Wayne and not my Batman. So, what is my skill set? What am I learning? And I'm learning as I continue to go. Is that I think that this is the core competencies of the business that I run. And I've got some, I was going to talk about a couple of instances. I don't think I'm going to have time today. But I've run telemarketing campaigns for one of my clients. I do ad campaign management. I do it all. So if if somebody's got a business and they say, look, I want to connect to my clients, part of my service is not just marketing strategy, where I started originally auditing companies and looking at who is your core customers, what is your branding, what's your mission, what is your vision, all of those things. I tell you the truth, what I found is that working in the kind of market that I was in, actually wasn't really very effective. A lot of small businesses don't really want to have that kind of level of, they just want to build a funnel on customers. It's great you can talk to me about semiological theory of my clients and stuff, build me a funnel. So that's kind of what I evolved to towards the end of last year. I built up my website and that's what I'm trying to do. So here's an anecdote. Now I put public relations there because who here has a public relations strategy in their business? Wonderful. Okay, so public relations, I wanted to tell you a little anecdote. So public relations is actually because of the propaganda, which is what we're trying to do is always, we want to be purveyors of the message that we want to go to the market. It has its features as well. And the key to public relations that I learned when I produced this movie, I wrote this movie in 2003. I probably had 1,000 meetings raising the money for this movie. I can't tell you how many faceless suits and mushies I met in London trying to get this movie produced. All of them with dorsal fins sticking out of the back of their jackets. But I managed to actually get the movie into production in 2006. And I think I did it on the strength of one absolutely ballsy public relations stunt. And so what I did was, of course, I'm from the city where she wrote. Everybody heard of Lady Delilah? Yeah, she rode in my town in the year 1048, so I'm used to her. Everybody in Coventry starts a plumbing business or a car business, or it's good either plumbing or good either routing. We thought everybody knew that. And so when I was on the way home in 2001 from the United States, I went through a chocolate stand for buy chocolates, and I said to the girl, I'm from the city where she rode. And she said, gee, sir, you don't sound like you've got a Belgian accent. And I said, Belgium? Anyway, I Googled it, and of course she was right. The company got the idea in 1953, allegedly, when during the coronation when they saw a revival parade in my town. And I realised there were hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Google entries, but there'd only ever been 2 movies made, one with a young Clint Eastwood and another one that never, they'd all gone straight to radio and they were 1,000 years old. So I come up with the idea of a modern comedy about gangsters and casino building and stuff. But looking at that, what is the most powerful image in that picture? It's of course, it's a naked woman, of course. So I did a stunt in my local town where I hired a model and we marched through the town. We've got regional coverage, etc. And I realised I had something. So what I did was, at the time I said, who's the most famous? I'm going to start a rumour that somebody's going to be in my movie. True story. And so I decided I was going to go after Pamela Anderson. Yes. her people, for some reason, wouldn't talk to my people. And so I phoned Penthouse, said that I needed a number for her agent. Somebody there gave me the cell phone number for her personal assistant, and I texted him an offer. Now, in the movie business, you've got to be very, very careful. They have a term called pay or play. You can't offer something and then not deliver it because you will get sued into the next century. So you have to be careful. So my offer said, offer to star in Lady Godiva, subject to contract, subject to money, subject to many of my other wins, subject to. And then I picked up the phone to Rupert Murdoch's largest tabloid in the UK, the Sun newspaper, and I said, listen, I've got the inside scoop. Pamela Anderson is in talks about it in Koralis. And I forgot about it. 2 days later, I woke up to 57 messages on my cell phone. And when I answered the first one, my colleague Paulie said, what have you done? I said, what have I done? And so that one stunt led me to a small amount of investment that led me to the Cannes Film Festival, that led me to all kinds of mischief.
Brilliant.
And I remember my most famous moment was Miramax Films contacted me at Cannes and asked me to see a screener for the movie, because and I said, how much do you want for domestic rights? I said, $2 million. They said, okay, send us a screener. I said, we haven't made the film yet. He said, what the F? How have you got this much publicity when you haven't made a film? I don't know. So anyway, 2 years, 18 months later, I was producing the movie, and the rest is history. I went from being the filmmaker who had never made a film, which is 99% of people in filmmaking, to somebody who had made a film. And then it was, the laws of diminishing. I was able to make the two following films in short order. So, 22 to 25, my income's improving. I'll just talk a little bit about my marketing business, what I'm learning, and I'm interested for your comments at the end. In the theme, keeping on with the theme of Batman, what I've learned as a small business that provides a service. I gave, at the start, I gave away 10% of my time, and I still give some time away for Alono in order to build my network. Some of you have actually enjoyed that relationship with me. It's been great for me because it allowed me to cut my teeth. But I've reduced that. If you're in a small business, there are what I call the Batman villains, and I've identified 4 of them. Are we ready? Isn't AI wonderful? I just put the prompt into AI and it came up with these Batman villains. So these are the people that I try to avoid dealing with, not because I'm better than anybody, so nobody could please don't get offended. It's just that I'm a small business, so cash is king, and if I don't make money, I die. So I have to make sure that I'm dealing with people that want my service and will pay for my service. So my 4 Batman villains, I've got the miser. Now the miser, anybody go to the Goldilocks zone? So this is an interesting, when you're transacting in a relationship, business, life, anything. I use a principle called the Goldilocks zone, which is, the porridge isn't too hot, it isn't too cold, it's just right. It isn't too hard, it isn't too soft, it's just right. If this is your relationship, when you're transactional, this is the part you want to be. Now, you want to do the best deal, so you want to get the most money for the least work, and they want to get the most work for the least money. But there's a band, there's a strata within that relationship. Whereas if you're outside, you feel great because they're paid through the nose and you're not providing a lot, and they're not happy. And then there's the other end of it, which is you're working like a dog and they're not paying much for it, and you're not happy. So always try and be in the Goldilocks zone. Okay. Now, the miser doesn't want to be in that. Then I have the meddler. Now the meddler is the one, I see some smiles out there. The meddler is the one where you start a job, you agree everything, and you can't deliver a good project because you can't get left alone to actually deliver it. We've all had that, right?
Yes.
It's the person that you go in to tile the bathroom and they're standing over you saying, can you turn that one that way? Why do you do that? Why do you do that? That's the meddler. And it means that whenever I've dealt with the meddler, I deliver substandard work. And that's my work is my resume every time I do a job. Then we have the flip-flopper. Anyone know the heard of the flip-flopper?
Yes.
That's a person that engages you, and I used to get it in life insurance a lot when I sell life insurance. That I'd spend 4 hours presenting something they wanted. I'd go to the office to put all the paperwork in, and I'd get a phone call saying, I've changed my mind, I don't want life insurance, I want a pension plan. You go all the way back and you do it again, and then you get a call 2 days later saying, I actually want to do a small investment. And in the end, they say, I'm just going to leave it for now because I can't really make my mind up. So you've wasted a lot of time with the a flip-flopper, and then the know-it-all. Now, I'm a marketing professional. If you hire me, there's an expectation that no matter how much you know, I might know a little bit more. So I have that relationship with you in your business. Whatever your business is, I'm going to come in with the assumption that you are an expert in it, that you've done the necessary 200 hours of training and expertise to become that expert. So if I'm going to be telling you how to run your business, why am I hiring you? So 2025 goals. So I'm Batman and my Batman and my Bruce Wayne. So I'd like to add another 25 clients to the fractional unit this year. I want to hire 2 direct salespeople. My goal is to get to 50,000 a month in ad spend on my TV platform side, because for me that is a very efficient use of my time and energy and money, and there's people out there that I can. So if I can build a sales team that's going after that, I think they're modest goals for this year compared to what I did last year. And I think there's I don't want to get political, but I think I can feel there's a different energy right now in the country. It's a little bit more. There's a little bit more forward thinking. So on my Batman side, I haven't really talked much. I designed the esports arena at Bethune-Cookman. It was installed last year, and I've got my second arena now that's going in at the Liberty, at the E-Right Academy in Liberty City. That's the second one that I've done, so that's going to be brought online this year. I'm going to greenlight my 4th movie production this year. I'm back in the movie. Movies is who I am, not what I do. So I'm making a movie, and with some of you in this room are in the team for what we're developing. We're developing plans for a new distribution platform, which we think could be a disruptor on channels like Netflix and Hulu, because I'm bringing with it my knowledge of the gaming industry, and we're going to build a platform that is incorporated with social networks so that people can share the movie watching experience with people wherever they are. That's cool, right? And okay, I'll finish up with a quote. Anybody guess who this was? Either we will find a way or we will make one.
Patton.
Who?
Patton.
Edison.
Clint Eastwood.
Almost. 2,000 years too late.
Hannibal.
What did Carthaginian General Hannibal do? He invaded Rome with 4 elephants because he couldn't get there and raced across the Alps. We will find a way or we will make one. Thank you.
Not bad for 24 years old, right?
Yep.
What a presentation.
All right, so hey, we're gonna have questions and comments and ideas, and so anybody who wants to ask a question, make a comment, raise your hand. I'll walk around and bring the microphone to you. So who wants to be the first one to start with me? All over here. Prayer with me. Okay, my steps of the day. And say
Great
thank
job.
you with.
Cheers to your dad. I'm Jenny Craig from Copper Bottom Craft Distillery. Thank you for your presentation. That was inspiring and encouraging and forward thinking. I had 2 different questions going through my mind. The first one was between your Batman and your Bruce Wayne, is it? What do you think is that like through line that was carrying through both aspects of what you've built?
What a great question. I think I'm a storyteller. When I sold life insurance, one of the hardest things to sell, I came out of the military, I spent 6 years and I built a small marketing company. I am still remembered in my town with some people that I know that I was a great storyteller. And so what I would do when I would sell life insurance, I would talk about products, I would talk about lifestyle, and I would say, tell me about your retirement, tell me about the next 10 years, how do you feel about it? And then we would craft a story, because human beings have imagination, and so we have to, as storytellers, infect that imagination and present stories which will attach to you and compel you to act.
So what you're doing now is telling stories of these small businesses that you're working with in other ways.
Yes.
Got it. My second question was, oh shoot, I just forgot. Hold on. My second question was, oh yeah. So you had success in so many different areas. I wondered if, as you're going along, are you thinking like, if I can just get to this, then I'll achieve yada yada, or is it more like I'm having fun here and then I'm having fun here? Like, what is your thought process?
That's another really great question. You know, I'm 56. I didn't really get into the workforce until I was about 38 years old. I'd had a military career that was in direct sales, and I was 6 years in college and university and graduate school. So I'm kind of under pressure, I put myself under pressure to get somewhere. But to answer your question directly, the day that I was at the premiere for my first movie, it was like nothing I changed in myself, that I achieved something that so many people have never achieved. I had no formal training, and it was like that moment in Babe, it was like, that'll do me. It's like, so I'm trying to build something of value now. I'm trying to build, in my movie business, I don't want to just make movies anymore, because I made movies. They all got to market, I made some money, I personally made money in all of them. They all made a little bit of money, but the money that's made in movies now, it's always been the same. The money is in distribution. And so I want to take my experience and focus it to a laser focused product and turn it into something that's monetizable. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Great job.
Now.
Hi, Heath. Congratulations on your third presentation. And I've actually, I know crispy bacon because I saw that on the news. So I didn't know that you actually did that campaign. So I love that for you. And for those of you who don't know, I've actually worked with Heath, and he's so creative, and I am a testament to that. So him and I worked on a campaign, and I just love every minute of it. So love that for you. And we have a couple of people watching online, and they're saying that that's so cool, and they would love to connect with you after.
Come find me.
It's right here.
I'm looking out a bit of light. Oh, by the way, before we just go on, Val, here's a tip. If you want to be successful in anything in life, surround yourself with giants. Can't be the biggest thing in your organization. I'm a good graphic designer. She's a great graphic designer.
Aw, thanks. Thank you.
All right, Jen Robert, just teaching thing, and I have had the pleasure of meeting with you, and you do a great presentation one-on-one as well. For people who don't maybe understand or fully grasp what you do, what does it look like if a small business hires you? What do you provide for that service?
That's a great question. So if I look at your business with you, the job of marketing really is to connect problems with solutions. So in a business where you're selling a product, how do we get your product in front of your customers? It might be directly advertising, it might be social media campaigns, it might be public relations, or as I worked with Sean Gefford, I'm sure you won't mind me mentioning him, we worked on his political campaign. The ROI on a political campaign is different if you're running a cleaning company. He wanted to get votes. Some people want to get customers. So part of I call it my audit and lead strategy. The first thing is to audit a business. Very often I find that it's the marketing, people say I'm going to do marketing the same way that they say I'll join a gym when I feel a bit fit. Marketing is the top of the funnel. Sales is at the bottom. And if you are in a company that transacts for sales, and you get to a point that your sales pipeline is empty, you've got problems because your marketing pipeline is so far upstream. Now, if I asked you now, how long is your pipeline, and I asked every one of you to think about that, the moment that you transact and make money, from the moment that you actually make a first introduction to a prospect, do you know how long that is? If you don't know how long that is, you're really putting yourself in jeopardy as a business, because what happens is, I call it sparrow marketing. I even created a graphic. Anybody seen how a sparrow flies? They go, they get high, and they stop beating their wings, and they drop out the sky. And they beat their wings, they get high, and they go. So when you've got no sales, you and then you take your foot off the pedal and you drop, and then you've got, and so the time when you're feeling the most pressure is when you're doing the hardest work. But if you don't understand what that pipeline is, so I do that. I understand what you. Then also I say, who are your customers? Who are your real customers? I mean, if Andy wouldn't mind me just mentioning All Across Wood, very successful company. When I first met with Andy in the C-suite, I was told, that the average customer might be 25 to 40. I think that the CFO said that. And when I did a deep dive into that business, actually that's not the case. Everybody is in the market at some time. There are many life events that require a public storage solution. When somebody's born, when somebody comes of age, when somebody goes off to college, when somebody gets married, has their own children, downsizes, dies. These are all, and so what we did is we came up with a wonderful new tagline for the company to reflect that customer journey, which was
Space for life.
space for life.
Oh, I like that.
Right? So that's part of what I do as well. And then also, to your point, is that whatever your business needs in terms of the funnel, I help build that funnel. Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. As somebody who firmly believes that marketing through everything, it's like the last thing you cut from your budget, I completely agree.
Yeah, it's always interesting with the sparrow effect. People start going up, and they say, "Oh, I got lots of work and I don't need it," so they drop that down, which is frustrating. How about anybody else? Scott.
Hey Heath, for this group, Scott, I think for this group it'd be valuable for you to tell them about the marketing relationship to all the other professions. For example, I'm in education, so there are professional educators, that's the umbrella. There's trainers, coaches, teachers, and so on. But I think you do a pretty good job of saying marketing is the umbrella, but then there's advertising. Can you let them know about that? Thank you.
Yeah, good question, Scott. So, has anybody heard of the circus analogy? So, so when a circus comes to town, right? The circus comes to town, you have advertising. So you put up a flyer, the circus is coming to town, tells where it is, what it's doing, that's advertising. I've lost it, but when you have, so you put up flyers, that's promotion. You get an elephant and you put the flyer on the back and you march through town, that's publicity. When he walks through the mayor's garden and destroys all the flowers, that's publicity. You get the mayor out and laughing about it on camera, that's public relations. You open an inbound sales where people can come and they can buy tickets or buy merchandise, or you've got a vendor inside the thing, and that's sales. If the whole thing was planned from start to end, that's marketing.
Yep.
All right, who else? Awesome.
Hi, Heath. I'm Natalia Smith. You know me?
I know.
Hello. Impressive presentation. Don't you all agree? I love the stories. I love the comparison with the Batman and all of that. And your impressive, your impressive background and everything you're accomplished. But so it gives me a question. Since you have so many opportunities, like in the future you have the movies, the books, and everything like that, how are you convince your prospect clients that you are going to stay with them or have the bandwidth to do and come alongside with them?
I'm going to put my photos up again so you can't be mean to me. It's just time management. You know, as I get more experience, I carve out time. I only take on so many clients. I make sure it's transactional when I do a deal with a client. I say this is what goes in, this is what comes out. Some clients pay me to be, I've got a number of clients that are paying me just to be their strategic marketing partner, and they'll call me at any time and we work on projects. Some pay me transactionally, which is do a social media campaign, produce an advert. And so I'm measured on whether or not I deliver those things. I think professionalism and ethics denotes that if I don't think I can do the job, you'll soon tell me. Which is,
I guess my impression is, like everybody only have 24 hours in a day, and if you keep getting new clients or people you work with, that thing will tap out. Are you looking, maybe there's going to be some delegation that you will hire more staff to do the work? Because I don't know, it sounded like you're very busy and you have so many different opportunities that you are growing. I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm being too honest here.
No, that's a great question. I mean, it is a good question. Well, I delegate. I don't do my post-production is all done in London. I utilize AI a lot when I'm writing scripts and stories. I project manage. I'm a project manager that's in marketing. So am I an effective project manager? I delegate. I think Mike is gone now. I've got the world, I've got a great bookkeeper who does a really great job, so I don't have to spend hours doing that. I have my post-production somewhere. I use Fiverr a lot for designing my ads. When I do branding, I will do the initial run on Photoshop, but again, I'm not talented. I then give it to people to do. So I manage my time. So I do have a workforce. The internet means that I can have a global workforce at a very affordable price, and I build that into the cost of the jobs that I quote. And one more thing. Anybody heard of the 80-20 rule?
Yeah.
Okay, the 80-20 rule is everywhere. And in this context, 20% of 80% of your earnings come from your top 20% of your clients. 80% of your problems come from your bottom 20% of your clients. So you've just got to be always, as you grow and your business grows, you've got to be brutal enough to reject the clients that are not providing you with the ROI that you want. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. Hello, sorry, I want to piggyback off of what Natalia kind of said. I'm Alexandra Walker. I'm an advocate for minority entrepreneurs here locally, and one thing that I noticed with your presentation and what I find with a lot of entrepreneurs is they have so much that they want to do because, I don't know if it's, ADD, they bounce back and forth, the need for financial wellness. That's what I do personally. But how do you help guide people when, like some of us, we overtake on or want to do too many things, and not any of them are financially prosperous in the ways that we want?
That's a great question. I mean, sometimes what I do leaks over into some business strategy, but there are people in this room that are far more successful than me at doing that. What I try and tell people is, what is your vision? What is your mission? Does everybody understand the difference between those? How I explain it is, the vision is, what does the world look like if you're successful in it? The mission is, what is your next campaign? And I use a military term to explain that. In World War II, the vision of the US, the vision of the United States was a world without Nazis. That's a vision. The mission was D-Day. Let's take the beach. So, if you're having those problems, that's part of the audit that I do with clients. I say, right, okay, businesses, you can't live without money, you can't live without ROI. So what makes you money? And what is the next thing that will make you money? And how do we build a funnel to get that?
Okay. I like that.
Just way in the back.
Thank you. Jed Bailey, Cinematique Theater. I was just thinking of a quote, I forget who said it, but something to the effect that a business owner said half of their marketing expenditures are wasted. The trouble is knowing which half. And I was wondering, could you give me insight on how you know what is working and distinguish it from what isn't in your office?
Yeah, that's a great question. So how many of us keep data? In the 1990s, when I was a salesperson, a life insurance salesman, I'd just come out of the military and I was 22 years old. And I was pretty successful at it. 6 years later, I sold a marketing direct sales business and it put me through university and graduate school. So I really enjoyed the training and what that brought to me. But this is what I did. My first year of operations, I used to use the telephone directory and cold call. It was tough. But I developed a system to warm up clients where I would just say, I'm not selling you right now, I just want to send you something in the mail. Can I just go through a 10-point question and find out what you'd like to look at next? And I used to come on with it. Anyway, what I did was I kept really good records. And I designed my own call sheet. And in the end of 1992, which was my first full year, I calculated that every time I picked up a phone, which I'm from the age where you picked up a phone. Every time I picked up a phone, I earned £2.81. Whether that person bought something, didn't buy something, said call me back, or go jump off a cliff. So it was a very simple calculation then. I said, if I want to earn £50,000 this year, this is how many times I pick up the phone. It was that strategy that said, well, wait a minute, if I'm doing it at £2.81, can I train somebody to do it and pay them £5 an hour, which was twice the minimum wage at the time, and they can do 5 calls a week. So understanding the data and keeping that information is very, very important. I would encourage you to do that. It's not really part of my service, but it's something that I would encourage you to do, particularly if you're a small business. You should know where your leads are coming from. you should know what your ROI and your cost per acquisition and the rest of it. And I can work with you to set up those simple systems for a small business. But if you don't know that, like you say, you don't know what to change. Did that help?
All right, that's cool. All right, let's give you the round of applause here. So for those of you who are new, we do a family photo